All right, good morning, everyone. I am back at that local monthly comic show. I haven't been here for a couple months. I've been busy during the last couple shows. Sometimes I've been out of the area, sometimes just haven't been able to come. But I always find some cool stuff here. Hopefully I find some cool stuff again. Let's go check it out and see what I can find. It was a big success. Picked up a bunch of books, talked to a lot of people. It was a lot of fun. I think I spent about $1,300 and picked up 5 books. So real excited to get back and go over what I found. So see you in a moment.
A few moments later.
All right, so we are back from the show. Picked up, like I said, 5 books, spent around $1,300. So actually, it was a lot of fun. I met a number of people, talked with a number of people at this show. Finally met up with Longbox Love Affair. If you've watched his YouTube channel, talked with him for a little bit. I talked to some other people from Instagram that I've met, as well as some of the dealers, just talking to the dealers about stuff. So a lot of fun, spent a few hours there and got some really cool books. Now, because it is just 5 books, I also have this stack here of, let's see how many are in here, another 5 books that I picked up as part of the Building a Comic Business Starting with Just $300 video. If you watched my last one on that, I had some money that available to spend on comics, and I have done that, and I picked these ones up. So I'll talk about those after I go over these. But before we get into these books, let's talk about the sponsor of this video, Fanalytics. If you're a follower of my YouTube and Instagram channels, you know that having accurate and comprehensive data to make my comic buying, selling, and investing decisions is extremely important to me. Fanalytics has exciting plans for the future to provide the most accurate and up-to-date sales data, as well as predictive models to help collectors make the best decisions with their hard-earned money. Keep an eye on my YouTube and Instagram channels for more announcements and dedicated content in the future. Fanalytics beta access will kick off in May, so make sure to subscribe to their Instagram for future announcements and click the link in their profile to register for beta access. The link to their Instagram is in the description of this video. All right, I'm back. So let's get into these books that I picked up at this show. But I've talked about this show a number of times. I hadn't been to it the last couple of months. I just had conflicts and I wasn't able to go. But went this time, and every time I'm there, I buy something. Sometimes it's just one book, sometimes it's a bunch of books. Maybe it was good that I hadn't been there for a few months. You know, there's maybe a little different inventory this time, you know, not being there month after month. But yeah, found some cool stuff, and yeah, let's start going over these books. First one here, actually a Silver Age book. Not always showing Silver Age books too often, but this is Journey into Mystery number 62. So you can see on here, it says, "Here comes the Hulk." This is, I would call it the prototype Hulk issue. There are a few issues that people will call like a prototype Hulk issue, but this is definitely the most well-known one, especially just because it says Hulk on the cover. This is definitely not the Hulk that we're familiar with Bruce Banner, but still pretty cool book when you've got these prototype issues. Now, this one, it actually presents really well, a solid presenting copy, but there are a few tears on the front cover and the back cover that are repaired with tape, but still pretty solid presenting copy, probably around like a 4.0. So was really happy to pick this one up, especially because it looks so clean. A lot of these pre-Thor Journey into Mysteries, they tend to be pretty tough to get in any type of presentable condition. They're usually pretty beat up, and this one presents really well. So that was the first book. Then I just came across this one, and the only reason that this one jumped out to me is I had seen this pop up in some other sale, and so I just recognized the cover. This is Popeye #1. Now, I think it's possible that this edge has some trimming to it. Sometimes these older books, I think this is like 1948 or something like that. Sometimes these older books, they do have really, I'll call it like wonky cuts. So I'm not sure if it's trimmed or not, but it's something where ultimately when I put this book up for sale, I will say possible trimming. I don't know for sure, but it's just something I want to make sure people are aware of, that this edge is possibly trimmed. Because when I put like a straight edge against it, it's not flush against the whole edge, but I have seen that with books that aren't trimmed. There can be some really weird stuff, especially in the golden age with the machinery and everything that was used to cut these books. So it's always tough to tell. But yeah, Popeye #1. And not the first appearance of Popeye, but still a relatively tough book. And so I was surprised to see this one. This was just in a bin. I think all of these except one of them I picked up in bins. So I mean, looking through bins, you can usually find some pretty cool stuff, and this was one of them. Then I got this one here. This is Donald Duck number 26. This is actually, you call it the number 1. It's the first issue of this like Donald Duck series. And so even though it is number 26 up there, it is, you call it like the number 1. But this is one where I never really remember the issue number for this one. I always remember the cover though. This cover always jumps out to me, and it's actually a really solid presenting copy of this book. I mean, I think, I remember there's something maybe going on in the back a little bit, but overall, a very, very nice presenting copy of this book. I mean, I'll take it out and take a look at it, because I think it was either there was some tanning or there was something going on the back. Oh yeah, that's right. There was just like a little chip on the back here. So there's a little chip there, and you know, just a little wear, but I mean, a really glossy book. I think it's like 1952. Check. Yeah, 1952. So really glossy book, really nice presenting copy. And this is one where you definitely want to check the back because the back was designed to be cut off of this book. I mean, this is a mask that was designed for kids for Halloween. And so there are some books like that, some comics like that, that have cutouts just specifically, you know, built into them that kids were expected to do. And so you really do want to check those types of things because they can often, you know, be missing. And if it's something on a back cover, you might not notice it until you get home. So definitely something that's worth remember checking for this one. But yeah, it's just, this one especially jumped out because it was in pretty nice condition from 1952. I mean, a book that is 70 years old now, and a kid's book. So oftentimes these types of books get really beat up. So yeah, just happy to find that one too. That one also in a bin. This one was in a bin as well. The last one will be the one that I picked up off the wall. This is Katie Keene number 9. This is just kind of goes along with the Archie stuff. Like I pick up early Archie, Golden Age Archie when I see it. Katie Keene isn't as popular of a title as the basic Archie titles, but still, she's a pretty popular character. And these ones, a lot of times the Katie Keene issues have, they're called like dolls, like paper dolls that are inside. And you do want to make sure that those are there and complete. Let's see if I can jump to where they would be on the interior, because that is another thing that is often cut out. Yeah, so like this. So you can see here, it's where you have these outfits that were designed to be cut out, and then you would fold those little tabs over, and you would have, you know, outfits that you would change for, you know, this cutout. And so that's also the type of stuff that will often be cut out of these books, whether it's the whole page or just those individual specific outfits being cut out. So if you are looking at these types of books, especially like Katie Keene, and it's like Katie Keene Pinup Parade and that kind of stuff, those books, the likelihood of cutouts in them is very high. And so you do want to make sure that that stuff is okay. This one, there was a note on this book that specifically said the pinups are all there, and so I wasn't really worried about it. So the person had definitely checked it. But yeah, a solid enough presenting copy. Again, this is the type of book that's often usually pretty beat up just based on the target audience. And this one, I think I had it as like a 3.5 or something like that. A nice presenting copy, just, you know, some spine wear is the main thing. And maybe just a little bit of fade on the cover, but still. Pretty early issue, 1952, Katie Keene number 9. Then, you know, and after I go over this one, we'll go over the books I picked up for the building a comic business stuff. So this was definitely the big book of these 5 that I picked up. This was a wall book. This is Vampirella number 1. I have owned probably like 6 copies of this book now. And whenever I see it for a pretty reasonable price, I will pick it up. Still not a cheap book. I mean, this is still a pretty expensive book. This is a big chunk of that $1,300, but it is a really nice presenting copy. The main issue is this corner up here. You've got a little piece that's out of the corner there and some creasing going on. But otherwise, I mean, this book, the spine is often usually pretty beat up, and the spine is very nice on this one. If you're not familiar, this is the first appearance of Vampirella. It is also a Frank Frazetta cover. And so those two things combined have made this book very expensive, especially over the last, say, 3 years or so, it's just been on a pretty regular trend up. And yeah, so this is a book that I always try to pick up if I get a chance to. Now the other thing, and I did ask this as well when I checked this book before I bought it, you do always want to check the back cover on this one, because the back cover tends to take a lot of damage, and it's because it's basically this like solid red back cover. And so I'll show you. This one definitely would benefit from a press. Just quick, you can see. I've seen this with almost every raw copy I've had. They end up having these like little indentations all over the cover. Let's see if I can get it to, yeah, these like little indentations all over the cover. And they'll all press out, but it's just something that usually these books will benefit greatly from a press. But here's the back cover. And you can see it's this, all this red. You tend to get a lot of color rub. And I've seen quite a few large creases on these back covers whenever, you know, you get this book. The front cover will look great, and then the back cover looks terrible. And this one, actually, back cover, I mean, looked better than the front cover, because the front cover had that chip out. So was definitely pleased with that when I saw that. So decided to pick this one up. I actually bought this one and the Popeye #1 from the same dealer. And so we're able to do like a little bit of a bundle deal to pick those up. And then all the other books I picked up from a different dealer. So the same dealer for all those. So I bought everything I picked up from two different dealers at the show. But overall, like I said, real happy with this. I mean, sometimes I pick up, like I said, sometimes I pick up one book, sometimes I pick up multiples. And this was a case where there were, this is a case where there were multiple books that I was interested in, and prices were real reasonable, so happy to get those. So those are the 5 books that I picked up at the show, but I also, these ones I all bought from a claim sale on Instagram. These other ones here that I bought for the building a comic business. Now, someone had mentioned I need to come up with a different name for that that's a little bit shorter. I haven't decided what that would be yet, but we'll come to that maybe sometime in the future. But the first book here was Spook number 30. Now, this one, this run can be a little tricky because these have this look like L.B. Cole, and they're from L.B. Cole's publisher, the Star Comics. This was like L.B. Cole's publisher, and so he did a lot of the covers with that you have the Star Comics up there. He did not do this one. Now, there are some people that said that maybe he did the inking for it, but he is not credited with the drawing of this cover. But still, it has that look and feel of an L.B. Cole cover. So pick this one up. This is a low-grade copy. It's completely split. The spine is reattached or reconnected with tape, but still pretty bright colors, cool-looking cover, and just a cool pre-code horror cover. Got the skulls and demons and flames and all that kind of stuff. Then the next one that I picked up, another lower grade copy. This is Beyond number 30. These Beyond issues often don't have, I don't know if they ever do, but often don't have the issue number on the cover. This is no exception. It's a low grade copy, something like a 1.5, but the colors, again, look really, really bright. Just a cool, like, Pharaoh type cover, and you've always got the woman in red, blonde hair, that kind of stuff on the cover that is potentially going to be attacked by this Pharaoh or something like that. But yeah, Beyond number 30, just picked this one up because it was a really good price. I think it was like $30 or something like that, and so I felt like you can't really go too wrong with Golden Age pre-code horror cover for, you know, under 50 bucks. So pick that one up. Now this next one here, this one is pretty nice. I may end up getting this one graded. I haven't decided yet. Probably not, but maybe. This is Rangers number 38. I have shown this book before. I have another copy of this one that I actually picked up at that comic show the last time I went there. Actually from the same dealer that I picked up the Vampirella from. But this is a book that's from the Seduction of the Innocent, the whole thing that basically ended up causing the Comics Code Authority to be established. And so pretty violent cover. You know, you've got, you'd call it like a good girl cover, but she's also potentially going to be hung on the cover. This is a pretty nice copy, somewhere in the 5 to the 5.5 range. There's a little bit of staining up in the corner up here, but otherwise a really presentable copy of this book. I'll show this one too, because this one always looks really nice when it's in high grade, where you can see kind of the cover gloss on it. So you can see all that, like the layering. I always like seeing that in these older books, like the layering of the ink on the cover. And the big things with this book are that there's a little tear on the edge here, so you can see it right there. And then there was that little bit of staining. Yeah, so a little bit of staining up in this corner up here. And then a couple smaller creases on the back, kind of in the top and the bottom. Nothing that's really like deep though into the cover, but overall a very, very presentable copy of this book. I think it's like 1948 or 47, December 47. So again, another book that's like 76 years old now. I mean, so very nice presenting copy, and one that, yeah, I don't usually see in this nice of conditions. So yeah, was happy to be able to pick this one up. All right, so that's Rangers number 38, Sodi book. Then this one, just a cool pre-code horror book. This is Adventures into Terror number 15. You got all these, skulls, skeletons on the cover, a guy trapped in the web, kind of a weird looking spider, kind of like almost like a human face on it. But yeah, Adventures into Terror number 15. From Atlas. I've talked about Atlas a number of times, precursor to Marvel. They have a lot of horror titles, and a lot of them I feel like are a little bit under the radar. So you can often get pretty cool Atlas covers for relatively cheap compared to something from, say, EC or Harvey. And so Atlas ones are often from the publisher that I'm often looking for with pre-code horror. And yeah, they often have this style where they have these like little story boxes on the side here. Some people like them, some people don't. But yeah, pretty cool pre-code horror cover. All right, now the last one. This is definitely the big one of this purchase as well. It's actually a Bronze Age book. I mean, I feel like I haven't bought a Bronze Age book in a while. This is Amazing Spider-Man, number 129. So pretty big book. Cool one to have as part of this, building a comic business collection. Definitely the biggest book I've had as part of this so far. Prior to that, it was probably one of the Tales from the Crypt books. I think Tales from the Crypt 35, the werewolf cover. I had a pretty decent copy of that, but this one is definitely a little pricier. I think it's probably in the 5.5 range. Maybe it gets a 6, but I think I'd be pretty safe, saying it's a 5.5. There's some creases and things to the cover. I mean, everything looks amazing in Mylar, but there's a few creases to the cover, front and back. There's some foxing when you get up close. Let's see that you can see these little like light brown dots. They hide in the yellow a little bit. You can kind of see a few of them. There is some spine wear and all of that, but first appearance of Punisher. I mean, pretty significant book. So definitely one of the major Bronze Age keys that is out there, and a book that I haven't had for a little while. At one point I think I had 3 or 4 copies of it, but I had sold all of those kind of more during the peak comic prices, and I just haven't picked one up for a while because prices have been coming down. This seemed like a real good price, so I was happy to pick it up. And yeah, I mean, really nice presenting copy, and like I said, it just has certain flaws to it. I think and show the back. I think that's where some of the more noticeable creases were. Some of them might press out, but yeah, so you can see, I mean, a pretty solid presenting copy. And then the back here, yeah, so this is where the foxing is a little more apparent. You've got, it could even be a stain, but it kind of looks like foxing to me. But you can see the crease on the corner down there. There's a, I don't know if it'll show up, but there's a crease up here as well. But they maybe break color, they maybe don't. It's hard to tell because this is that white cover. I can see if I can get it to show up a little better, but there's a crease here and there's another one here. So it's a possible press candidate, but I don't know if I want to put the additional money into this one to get it pressed. So I may just end up listing this one raw. But yeah, it's always fun to get some bigger books like this, especially as part of that the building a comic business project. Because I've talked about that before. That's one of my goals as I build this up, is that I like to get to bigger and bigger books. Because if you have a smaller inventory but larger value, you don't have to spend as much time listing, as much time packing, and all of that kind of thing. And so that's kind of the direction that I like to go. But yeah, Amazing Spider-Man number 129. Pretty awesome book to pick up. All right, so that is all of the books. Hope you enjoyed this video. Remember to check out the sponsor of this video, Fanalytics. If you'd like to see more of my videos, I've got more videos over here. I've got the subscription button right here, and I will see you in the next video.